Hey, everybody. Welcome back to
Hey,
Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about buddy action comedy movies. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill.
This is the Buddies
Buddies
on
on
Buddies
Buddies.
show. Yeah.
It's
All
been a
right.
while. It's been a
It's been
while.
a little while.
And why is that, do you think?
We don't really care. We don't get paid. No one's watching. So our enthusiasm's kind of low, I guess.
Some you cannot. Okay, got it. Some people are watching. Like my lovely brother-in-law mentioned, he listens to it
Mhm.
when he like cooks or cleans the kitchen or one of those things.
Hey, shout out to your brother in law. What's his name?
B-boy or Brendan? Fuck up. Sorry, I'm doing tech stuff while I'm doing this.
Oh, you're texting other people while we're here
No,
recording the show?
tech stuff
Oh,
because
tech
you're not
stuff.
going to do
Sorry.
it. Yeah.
Wouldn't
B-boy,
surprise me if
Brendan.
you were texting other people. Shut up, Kenny. Hold on.
Next, my other podcast.
I'm gonna do a twofer right now. Two podcasts in one.
So how have you been?
Been all right. Went to a little blues concert last weekend. Curtis Salgado here on the peninsula. Kind of a bigger name. It's not really a name, but he's guy who's been on Conan and stuff, and he was the inspiration for the Blues Brothers back in the day. And that was cool to see him. My dad was a big fan, so he was a Jazz and Oysters Festival. Went to that last weekend.
That's great. And how were the oysters? I know the jazz was great.
Oysters are okay. I'm a fan of the big fat oysters. I like the small ones. They need more taste, more.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I like a big old fat oyster.
Big old fat sloppy oyster sliding down your throat. That's your
I like
jam.
to pop my face in a big old fat oyster and suck it down, baby. Yeah. Especially if there's some fine jazz playing in the background, baby.
Oh boy. Yeah, it brings it right back to fucking college. Yeah.
What does that mean?
You were gay in college or something?
I should have been. I missed that boat. We were too masculine.
No. Yeah, what a window to fucking miss.
I know. Now it'd be all weird and shit. My wife's not into it, so
It's really weird trying to pitch that nowadays, yeah, to your wife.
Mhm. Sowing wild oats, baby.
How about you? What have you been up to?
What's that? I have been traveling and working, and that's about it. Weathering this strike, so
Hmm.
it's been fun. Yeah,
When's the end of the strike, you think? You're saying like that's what I'm talking to you, maybe like November or something? Are they making any movement on
there's,
that?
there's some headway, but no, I don't know. There's some hope for September, but who knows? But they're actually talking, so that's a good sign. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember last strike, because you were in LA at the time, but they were
It was
negotiating.
2007. I remember that.
They were negotiating for a lot of it. They just started barely talking now, so
Yeah,
it's fun.
I don't remember that strike lasting that long. I think it was like a month or something. This was going on for a while.
100 days. This one's
100
already
days.
surpassed that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're no closer to anything. So who the fuck knows? What movie are we reviewing this week?
This week we are reviewing the 1993 Universal Pictures release "Cop and a Half," starring Henry Winkler directed by Henry Winkler, starring Burt Reynolds and Norman D. Golden II.
Mhm. And before we get to that, we got a lot to dig in on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other movies that popped to your mind that you saw that you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, since we're getting late summer here, we haven't done too many episodes. I thought we'd go over some of the big summer movies of 2023. How about that?
Okay, sure.
All right. Let's start with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. All right, what'd you think?
I thought it was a solid Indiana Jones movie. Not stellar. Didn't do anything better than the first three, but much, much better than the monkey one.
Kingdom of Crystal Skull?
Yeah, but it was solid and entertaining. But yeah, it wasn't like, wow, they did it. They really pulled it off. Nothing like that. But it was still, I enjoyed it. For the most part. Fell asleep for about 20 minutes, but I still enjoyed it. They have these
I didn't
movies.
like it. I didn't like it at fucking all. I think it was kind of like like Kingdom of Crystal Skull. Actually, I think is better than this one. And it kind of, I was like, what do you think's better, the Star Wars prequels or the Disney ones? Because it's kind of like that's kind of where Kingdom of the Crystal Skull kind of, and this one kind of, this one actually reminded me a lot of like Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, I didn't like any of it really. Way too much CGI, not just his de-aging face thing. I thought that actually looked some of the best de-aging face stuff I've seen, but it still is distracting and weird, and just way too much CGI everything. It's like a fake train, a fake green, everything's green. Even when he's sitting in like a cafe, it's still a fucking green screen. like
I
from a
love how
book.
all these directors are always like, we're doing practical effects all the way through this time, and they never do. Like, why do you even say that? Like,
No.
do it or don't. Why say that? Like, in lead
Did
up
they
to.
claim that they were doing practical effects with this shit? Because there's not a fucking any shit that was practical looked like me. Besides maybe they were in a library or something.
All right, what else? What's the next movie?
Well, how about the Barbenheimer phenomenon? Did you check those out?
I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I did see Barbie. Bunch of feminine hogwash, you know.
Really? You feel that way?
I didn't feel that way. No, I thought it was fine. It was entertaining and
Yeah.
had an important, covered an important message of femininity and masculinity, and it's rare to see that handled so deftly in a giant blockbuster summer movie. So I appreciated it more than I like genuinely enjoyed it. Too much music for me and stuff like that. Like, but the set deck, all that shit, all that was phenomenal. Performances are great. I thought Ryan Gosling was hilarious. So yeah, no, it's not like a 5-star movie, like 3.5. It's a solid movie, but
Yeah.
what'd
I
you
took
think?
my mom. I took my mom to it, and I basically agree with everything you said. Like, it's. I I was happy when it was over, but I didn't not enjoy it. It was just like it's not a movie for certain people. That's why I don't get these conservatives. I just think it's embarrassing when they spend like 45 minutes talking about how bad Barbie is. It's just like this is movies made for girls and little girls and moms. Like it's not for everybody, and I don't necessarily think it has a bad message really, or I don't know. Yeah, so I liked it. I thought it was well made and actually kind of inspired take on Barbie, I guess. And it was all fine and stuff, but I don't get the whole guys are just like if ranting about how fucking terrible this movie is. It'd be like a little girl or a grown woman ranting about how bad GI Joe is or something.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
I think you had a good point. I don't even know if they like set out to have a message movie. What they did have, and like you said, an inspired take and just ran with it.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That's
and
enough. Yeah.
yeah. And again, it's not forced. I wouldn't expect Mary to be over the moon about Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. Good. What else? Any other movies?
Well, how about the other half of that double feature? How about Oppenheimer?
I haven't seen it yet. It's one I haven't been able to see. It sucks. But what did you think of it?
Well, I don't want to give it like spoilers, even though it's kind of a biopic.
No spoiler. Yeah, I know.
Well,
but
I don't know. There's Christopher Nolan movies. Either I'm fucking over the moon about them, or they're not for me. Like it's kind of the same thing when we went and saw Inception. Everyone's walking out of the theater like, "Wow, that was fucking amazing!" Right? I'm like, that fucking sucked. What the fuck? That's kind of how I felt with this one. I mean, I was familiar with Oppenheimer's story and stuff, but the last hour is devoted to like these two characters, like what's going to happen to their careers and all this other stuff. Like that's the big tension. It's like they already fucking nuked fucking 200,000 fucking people, and like now we're gonna spend an hour.
I
like,
don't want to hear the last. I don't want to hear the end of the movie.
You just fucking said I don't care about spoilers.
I never said that. I never
said that. That's what I heard in my head.
No, shut the fuck up, you fucking asshole. Jeez.
Well, anyway, since you don't care about spoilers, I'll just go.
I care very much about spoilers.
That's not what I heard.
I have a tattoo on my knuckles. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I hope to have a discourse with you once I do finally. Sure. I hope to make.
I'll say this though, like Inception, so it's not a badly made movie. I don't think Christopher Nolan's capable of making a badly made movie. It's just that I was over the moon about Tenet, and then no one seemed to really give a shit about that one. And then so I don't know. I think he's a fantastic filmmaker. It's not nothing's wrong. It just I don't know. This one just didn't click with me, and at 3 hours, just fucking drug.
Real quick, did you see the only other summer movie I've seen, Mission Impossible?
No, I didn't see Mission Impossible. I'm not a big Mission Impossible. I don't hate the movies, but I'm not a big fan of them. Do you like it?
Well, let me tell you how it ends. No, I'm kidding.
Fine, yeah. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna see it anyway. So go away. Go. Spoil away.
I liked it very much.
Spoil me.
I like if someone has no idea that it's a movie reference and you have a spoil me tattooed on your finger.
He's looking for a sugar daddy, I think. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. There's some dialogue in it that I just love that people think is campy and serviceable, but it was like my
Yeah.
favorite part of the movie. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
this is a Mission Impossible movie. It's nothing more. You know,
Yeah.
and so I love that. I'm curious to see what you think about it because there's some dialogue in it where it's just so on the nose, like so serious and
Yeah.
genre and dramatic, but they're saying the most ridiculous things.
That's
And
kind
it's
of how a lot of them
great.
are. But yeah, I don't hate the series. Or not that into it, but like what kind of threw me though was like it was like Mission Impossible Part 7 or 8, and then Part 1. Like what? So it's like is it ending on a cliffhanger? Like what? Come on.
It is. It's part one of. There's a two-parter, but we'll see.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Anyway, we wasted a lot of time on a bunch of summer movies no one cares about. Snooze Fest. Here's a movie we do care about.
Everyone cares about.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Why they're tuned in. That's why they're listening.
Mhm.
Cop
Cop and a half, baby. This
What?
was your pick, which is actually weirdly. I wonder why you picked it.
Well, first of all, I hate to tell people how the sausage is made. It wasn't my pick. I picked like 5 movies you rejected. And I was like, well, here's
What?
one we haven't seen. What? Here's one we haven't seen, and it has your boy Burt Reynolds in it. By the way, Burt Reynolds is Kenny's boy. And I was like,
Right.
well,
Big,
Cop and
big,
a half.
big Burt fan.
Will that shut you up? You're like, great pick.
Like I said, it was completely your choice. So why?
Yeah. I don't know why I picked it. I think it came up somewhere. I was like, oh yeah, we haven't done that, and it's a kid. We
Yeah.
haven't done one with the kid, I don't think. So I was like, we've done one with the old lady with Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Right.
This good double feature with Cop and a Half.
Mm-hmm. I'll say Cop and a Half. Before we get like, I looked at IMDb has a 4.1 star rating. So this is the lowest rated movie on IMDb that we've ever covered.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because we will get into it, but it's not that bad. I mean, you're going to see
What are your general thoughts, I guess?
Well, hold on. First, what is the plot of Cop and a Half?
A little boy in Florida witnesses a mob hit, and he then will only testify or bear witness or whatever if he gets to follow a cop around on his beat for a week. 'Cause he's obsessed with being a cop, and that cop is Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. So what I thought about this movie is, it of course sucks. It's a stupid movie that's
Yeah.
poorly made. My main problem with it is, if it was a kids movie, fine. It's a kids movie.
It is
That's
a
what it
kids
feels like most of the time. It's just a stupid kids movie.
It is a kids movie.
But it's a kid who's obsessed with cops and cop shows and partners and gritty, cop stuff, which no kid really is,
I can
anywhere.
see it.
And then there's a mix between like being just a kids movie and there being shootouts and some violence and a guy gets murdered. So I really think it's walking this very unmarketable, uncommercial line, and it does not succeed.
I see what you're saying. I do think it's a kids movie through and through. I think so. Like another Universal movie, Kindergarten Cop, that came out a couple years before that. That really rides the line about there's some violence and shit. That's like, I don't know if this is a kids movie, even though there's kids everywhere and shit. But this one, I think, is pretty much this is a kids. They're going for a kids movie. It's not, I think, trying to be Lethal Weapon or 48 Hours or any of that shit.
But it's almost like the main character, the kid, who's fine, who's good. He's good. Nothing star making.
I liked him, yeah.
Like they expect kids to want to relate to him because he loves cop movies. I don't think too many kids give a shit, whereas Kindergarten Cop, it's about Arnold Schwarzenegger's a kindergarten teacher. That's the premise. That's a joke. I could sell that in an elevator, and then around that they structured a cop movie, so it's a little different.
Well, as far as like the structure goes, I mean, my nephews were obsessed with Garbage Men for a while, like, so it doesn't really like throw me off that a little boy would be obsessed with cop shows and shit like that, or that didn't make that made sense to me, enough sense anyway.
Who's obsessed with Garbage Men? Your nephew?
My nephews. For a while, they were obsessed with Garbage Men, so it's not like like the kid would never idolize cops. It's like, well, I don't know, why not?
Your nephews must love you. It's weird that his bullies are 17.
They do, I think. I don't know. They kick me in the shins a lot.
I thought it was funny that his bullies are like 17. He's like,
yeah,
like a small 8-year-old. His school bullies should be in high school or starting college, and they're just fucking horrible to this little kid. It's so weird.
It's really crazy. That scene where he's like, he tries to psych him out, like, this is my grandma's car. Oh, it's your grandma's car. They start beating the shit out, like breaking the fucking front windshield and shit with a baseball bat. Like, these kids are fucking psychos. These aren't typical bullies. These are fucking real terrors.
That scene disappointed me too because the mobsters come out and they just run off. I'm like, get away from our car.
Yeah, they don't really.
Then later they try to run over this little kid and murder this little kid.
Yeah,
Destroy their car, just run off with a shake of
yeah.
the fist.
It should have been like Bronson in Death Wish 3, just come out, just blow away the kids immediately. I mean, I could see that happening.
And then we'd have something.
Yeah.
Got that. Oh yeah, all the stuff with guns and him being at school and being really good about cops and how they love cops in this movie. I don't think it'd fly today's climate, you know.
I think the cop backlash is kind of going. I mean, it's not as bad as it was like 2 or 3 years ago, but I mean, yeah, that didn't really throw me. I'm watching the Dirty Harry movies again. That fucking threw me. I was like, these movies would never fucking fly today. But this one, it's just like I said, it's a kids movie. I didn't like, I didn't really. I always think it's kind of stupid when like critics put kids movies on their like worst of year list. It's just a different criteria, like.
That is funny how overbearing his grandma is, but then she like leaves him alone and lets him watch Miami Vice and all this stuff.
That was weird too. How old is he? Like 8? Like, just now go to bed and cook your dinner and bye. Like,
and enjoy your cop show.
Yeah.
There's one scene in this movie that is extremely uncomfortable, and I don't think would fly. Shouldn't have flown then.
Oh, are you talking about the sword scene?
Yeah. So
my sword.
Yeah, he's brushing his teeth or whatever the fuck, and Burt Reynolds comes in the same bathroom, whips his dick out, and starts pissing. The kid goes, "Oh, let's play swords," and drops down and whips his dick out. Like what? I
was like, "Ay." Well, I used to play swords as a kid, I'll admit it, that's I don't know if are you familiar with swords? I remember watching Step Brothers with an old girlfriend, and that scene where they're playing swords, and she's like, what the fuck is that? I got swords. She's like, you fucking used to do that shit? I was like, well, I was a kid, you don't fucking know.
You just cross streams, you don't bat your dick against the other dick.
You're not touching penises, you're urine touching.
The thing is, you're also not doing it with a 50-year-old man. That's the problem with this scene.
Well, if you're a kid, you just think this is something that all you guys do, I guess.
Okay, fine, but also I have an issue with Burt Reynolds coming in and whipping his dick out when the kid's at the scene.
He's Burt Reynolds. He wasn't trying to do anything weird. He just had to piss.
All right, you should be his lawyer.
I would love to be Burt Reynolds' lawyer. I feel like I am in life as the biggest Burt fan in the world.
You are right now for some fucking reason.
I'm a huge Burt fan, big Burt fan. Yeah.
It's like you're talking to your kid. Oh, don't worry, Uncle Bert's just having a good time. Go back out there and what he does.
Burt would never do that shit. All right, you're a fucking liar.
Something caught me on this that I just wanted to point out because someone gets kicked in the nuts, and this is a trope you see in a lot of comedies, mostly bad ones. When men get this orgasmic face and sound when they get kicked in the nuts. Like,
yeah.
Like, what is that?
Well, have you ever been kicked or punched in the nuts? Or
Sure.
Yeah, you have? I have not been kicked or punched, but I did get a football thrown. It hit me right in the fucking junk.
Yeah, did you cross your eyes and smile? And go,
no, I go, woo! I did. The wind was knocked out of me. I couldn't breathe. I just hit the ground. I think I was wearing just cotton shorts at the time. It was like, bam. So yeah, but I never really noticed well, I guess they kind of do that, make a weird face, but yeah.
In bad movies, I just pointed it out.
Yeah.
Look, I was searching for things to point out.
Sure.
Yeah, and Burt Reynolds' character sucks. They don't do anything with him. He's just manly and gruff. We learn nothing about him really at all.
No.
So yeah, the movie it sucks for me. I don't see why people hate it so much. I don't know what they were expecting, but you could be right. It could have been on the tail end because it looks like it's like a cross between Kindergarten Cop and Home Alone.
Yeah,
without any of the charm and heart. And
I would disagree. I think it has some charm there. I liked. I have a weird history with this movie because I saw it as a kid in the theater, when I was 10 or 11. And then I remember in my 20s,
did you like it as a kid? Did you like it?
I liked it as a kid, yeah. I don't think it was like wow amazing, but like Home Alone or something. But I liked it fine. And then I remember it getting like really fucking some crazy reviews. Leonard Maltin like bomb, and Gene Siskel called the worst movie of the year and shit. And then I saw my 20s at some motel I was staying at in Southern California for some reason. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is like fucking garbage. I can totally see what fucking Gene Siskel and Leonard Maltin guys were talking about. And then when I got into Burt Reynolds like 10 years ago and watching a lot of his fucking dreck, and also his great movies, that I watched it with kind of like, oh, I remember this one being really bad. But and I was like, no, this isn't that bad. This is kind of fun. It's got some stuff. I don't think he's sleepwalking through it. I've seen him sleepwalk through fucking movies, and I think for Bird fans, it's actually one of his. I hate to say better movies of like the 80s or 90s, but I enjoy it. I think it's fun because I like the buddy cop movies. I love Burt Reynolds. I think the kid's kind of charming, and yeah, I think I like this one.
Okay. Henry Winkler, as you accidentally mentioned, directed it.
Mm-hmm.
He has not directed much before or
No.
set. And apparently he didn't get along with Burt Reynolds on the set. I have not met Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
I have met Henry Winkler, and he is like the nicest guy in the world. His reputation precedes him because he's considered like the nicest guy in Hollywood.
Yeah,
so it's really funny that those two would clash.
Yeah, well, everybody I've ever heard say anything about Henry Winkler that's met him said he's a super fucking nice guy, including yourself when you worked with him like a long time ago in that scene in Arrested Development. But it's weird though. Like, well, one, Burt has clashed with a lot of fucking directors and punched some of them out, and shit. So that doesn't surprise me he clashed. But also, like, Henry Winkler has clashed with a couple of these. Like, he was the original director for Turner and Hooch, and Tom Hanks and him fucking butted heads, and Tom Hanks fired him off that like at some point. So, and it's crazy to think like Tom Hanks, Henry Winkler are fucking, going at it, like the two nicest guys in Hollywood.
This movie did okay at the box office, though, surprisingly, from what I saw. Like,
yeah.
I remember it being like a huge bomb, but maybe it's just the critical backlash that you take into account later. But yeah, it made money.
Yeah, it cost like 15 million or something, made like 50 million. So I mean, it was a okay hit, and Burt was going through a fucking real downfall at this point with his career, with like a ton of shitty movies in the late 80s, and then it wasn't until Boogie Nights that kind of brought him back for a little bit.
For a little bit. And he also, I know everybody knows the story, but he famously fired his agent after Boogie Nights.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't a fan of Boogie Nights, but he in his book though, he said like he knew that Paul Thomas Anderson was really talented. So he was thinking about quitting a lot because he did not want to do that movie, but he knew this guy he didn't like the movie, didn't like the material, didn't like anything about it, but like, I know this guy is really, so he said like, I didn't quit just because I knew that guy was talented. Anyway, that's what he claims anyway.
Yeah, that's what he claims. Yeah. He's fucking lying. Sorry. Your buddy Burt, he's a fucking liar. Your buddy Burt is a liar and a pedophile.
He's not a liar or a pedophile. You're now he's like a conservative. Like fucking all those people in Hollywood are liars and pedophiles.
Not all of them, just Burt.
Just Burt Reynolds. It's like everybody else is fine. There's not any other thing. It's just Burt Reynolds.
I love how defensive you get when I talk bad about Burt Reynolds, though. That's pretty fun.
Fuck no, yeah, dude. It's like my hero. Can't fucking knock Burt. No, like it's funny like watching one of the interesting things. I never really followed I watch like old directors. Like I'll watch like a bunch of their movies in a row. I never really watched like a star, like all their movies in a row, and you could totally kind of see like where the career took a shit and what the decisions were made and stuff. So. No, I'm not above like criticizing Burt Reynolds, but I love Burt Reynolds. My favorite movie star.
How would you rate this on a movie rating?
And on my movie rating, I'd probably give it like 3 stars, maybe 3.5. I don't know. Like I think it's like because it's a good kids movie. Kids today, I don't know if would like it. Every fucking kids movie I try to show my nephews, they always fucking hate it, like Rookie of the Year or something from that time. Like watch this, like bored. But I like it. I think it achieved what it was setting out to do, which be like a fun buddy cop movie for kids. Yeah, and yeah. How about you?
2 stars a movie, 2.5 as a buddy, and only the other extra half is because I did feel their connection come about naturally.
Yeah.
So by the end, you believe. I will say this: I don't know how much of it was his own stunts, but he was doing the work physically.
Yeah.
Burt, your boy Burt, he was running like a motherfucker. And if he has a stuntman, he's the best stuntman because I couldn't tell which was Burt and which was a stuntman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did all his own stunts because he's laboring
Uh-huh.
around through a lot of it. You just think he's this old man, but then he just sprints out running. I'm like, oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. So I
There's
don't
this
think I can
old,
do that. What's
this old
that?
spaghetti, this old spaghetti western you should check out called Navajo Joe, which I saw at the Quentin Tarantino theater. And it's funny because like back in the 70s, like kung fu and like spaghetti western, like people had their own style of fighting. That was like that like defined the character, how he fights or what weapon he uses or whatever. Navajo Joe, even though he's Native American, Burt Reynolds' like fighting style was football. Like he just tackles guys and just like runs at them like ah like this. He was a played for the Seminoles and shit like that. But like so if you want to see like a spaghetti western where the guy's like signature fighting style is football, that's one to check out.
Navajo Joe. I'll
Navajo
put it on
Joe.
my list. Yeah.
Sure. I have a few more notes about Cop and a Half if you don't mind here.
Jesus
Do you recognize
Christ.
the guy, the mobster with the Jew fro? Is
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Frank Severo? Yeah. He sued The Simpsons for $200 million.
Oh, for one of the mob. Oh, yeah, that guy that does look just like him though. In
Right. It
his
does look just like him, but $200 million. Like, wow, the judge threw it out, but
real quick before we go on the rest of your things, I
yeah.
love the main character because he was so unique and charismatic. The main antagonist, sorry.
Oh yeah, they got the
The
50s
tiki
fucking
mobster.
monster
Yeah, so I was
rockabilly
like,
guy.
who's that guy? I mean, he like the camera
He's
eats him
good.
up. I have to know. Yeah, he was a heroin addict and died shortly after the movie. I
Oh
was like,
shit.
oh, I've never seen.
Fun fact. I would say that too. Like that guy's good. I have to look him up on IMDb. No, no, yeah. He was tortured the whole time.
We're watching a quick side little cul-de-sac here, but we're watching the run of Everybody Loves Raymond on the
Uh
old
huh.
Peacock there, late night stuff to put on before we go to bed.
Yeah.
And then we're watching it one night. We're in like season 6 or something. Mary looks up from her phone. Did you know one of those twins killed himself? I'm like, no, Jesus.
Yikes.
Put the cloud over this whole show, though. Every time I see
Yeah.
those twins, I'm like, one of them killed themselves.
Well, there's a bunch of that dark shit, like old comedies, like Austin Powers, like, oh, that guy murdered his girlfriend. The guy plays like the Odd Job or Random
Yeah.
Task or 40-Year-Old Virgin. There's like a murderer in that one of the guys that works at the like little tech store and stuff. But yeah, kind of, yeah. OJ Simpson, Naked Gun, yeah.
Yeah, but now that's kind of the charm of it. Just gives Naked Gun a little extra, Maybe
that's the lucky charm for a movie's cast for a comedy. Like, we gotta get a fucking future murderer in here somehow.
All right, what other notes do you have? Any more?
Although I like the end, I always love the end song, credit songs, the big songs from the movie. Did you listen to "Nothing My Love Can't Fix for You" by Joey Lawrence over the end credits?
Oh, wow, was that Joey Lawrence?
That was
I
Joey
vaguely
Lawrence. Yeah,
remember it. I did not look it up, so that's really funny. Good for
yeah,
Joey.
yeah. That was his big
Whoa!
like single push. Whoa! That was his big single push at that time.
That's good.
Let's
for
see
him.
what else I got here. Well, did you ever watch the Siskel and Ebert review of this movie?
Yeah, yeah. And then I also watched the one where they talk about the worst of the year, and then Siskel
Mhm.
just fucking slam dunks on Ebert about how he liked this movie.
Yeah. Well, and like later on, years later, when he was reviewing Broken Arrow, Siskel changed his thumb from up to down during the like after listening to Roger Ebert, and he's like, "I never done this before. But I'm just gonna change my thumb from up to down." He's like, "But I want you to fucking admit that Cop and a Half was not good." And Ebert's like, "No, I'll never do that." But I don't think it's a 4.1. Even I'm giving it a lot of credit because I love Burt Reynolds and these types of movies and stuff. But I'm not going to say it's like a really good movie. But like I will say it's not a 4 point. If Partners is 5.4, this is not a 4.1.
It is not the worst movie we've seen on this little
No.
show, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
Not by a fucking landslide. So
Yeah.
all right. Anything else? Are you done?
I think we wrapped it up on Cop and a Half as far as I can think. How about you?
No. Do I get to pick the next one in earnest?
I'll let you put it without any sort of like veto. Go ahead. Yeah. Do you know what you're going to pick?
Not yet, but there's a couple of kung fu movies I wanna do something foreign again. So
Okay.
I'll find something.
Can I send you suggestions if I think of something or no?
No, shut the fuck up.
Here's the 4 that you have to choose from.
Kenny, I do want to ask you about the
Yeah.
wall of tools behind you. Normally it's records.
Yeah.
Now it's a wall of tools. Have you switched from music into carpeting?
I'm all about the handyman shit now. I rejected music, I burned all my vinyls, and now I'm Mr. Fix It.
Will you, since you're Tool or Kenny the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah.
Will you do us your impression?
Tim Allen?
Yeah.
Uh,